2023 is now here, and while we can look at the past year and say how terrible all the movies are, I feel like it's important that we talk about some good movies. Hello, extremely intelligent lambs, and welcome back to the Movie Night Review. I'll be your host today, Peter Wary. Today's topic will be on 6 movies from 2022 that I actually appreciated. Let's get started. Wow, some of these movies that I'm going to talk about already came up on some of my list. I just want to mention them in the point of 2022. I know a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of complaints about all the movies that came out in 2022. There's a lot of bad movies that came out then. But right now, I feel like we should talk about some good ones. There are 6 ones that I can think of that I actually really enjoyed from 2022 and was so good that I sometimes forgot that they came out in 2022 because there was so many bad movies to fill in the gaps with that it was too much bad for the good. But for right now, let's jump in and talk about 6 movies that I actually liked from 2022. Number 6, Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. A lot of people actually don't like this movie. I like it. I like the Fantastic Beasts movies. They're not perfect. They're good. This movie definitely has its problems. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but the whole storyline with Dumbledore's plan and all makes no sense. It's supposed to make no sense, but I feel like it tries too much not to make it. That it tries too hard to make itself seem like it has no sense to it. That it just too far. So, I like it. It's good. If you haven't seen it yet, feel free to check it out. It's fine. It's just not perfect. The visuals are awesome on this. It's definitely a continuation of the Fantastic Beasts movies. One of the biggest problems with Fantastic Beasts movies is they're quickly going away from Fantastic Beasts now. I like seeing Grindelwald, and I really hope that they can make Grindelwald like more threatening than Voldemort was, because it would be really cool to see him and really like see like how you can have this basically the Hitler of the Wizarding world. So if you guys haven't seen this one yet, strongly recommend you guys check it out. Number 5, Death on the Nile. I've talked about this in a previous video, but I completely actually forgot that this came out in 2022, but it apparently came out in February 2022. I was looking up a list of all the movies that came out, and I realized, wait a second, Death on the Nile actually came out that year? I'm like, interesting. It just seemed like it was so long ago. I thought it was 2021, but apparently it was 2022. This movie, I've talked about it in a previous video. It's really good, strong movie, like the movie, awesome. The murder mystery part of it is fun. The characters are fun. The visuals, again, as I've talked about before, beautiful visuals. Again, I really like Egypt, ancient Egypt and all that kind of stuff, and I love how beautiful the scenery is. The story is pretty good. I don't think it stands up to the original one, but it's good. Overall, I guess I don't really remember the music that well from this. I think there might have been some good music. It's just I've never listened to the soundtrack. I might need to look up the soundtrack and listen to it. Because I might have a completely different opinion. Maybe I'm like, oh, I might be like, oh, the soundtrack's actually pretty good. But for right now, I'm like, I don't know about the soundtrack because I don't remember anything about the soundtrack, which kind of shows that it probably didn't have the best soundtrack. Overall, if you haven't seen this one yet, please check it out. It's a good murder mystery movie. Very good visuals. The characters are awesome. The acting, for the most part, is good. Overall, good story. Strongly recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Number 4, Father Stu. Father Stu. This is another movie I haven't mentioned before. Father Stu is a movie. When I heard about it, I'm like really excited to watch it. I saw Father Mike Schmidt put out a video talking about how it was a good movie. I've seen interviews of the actors in the movie talking about it, and I'm like, oh, I really want to see this movie. And I watched it, and it's definitely it's rated R for language, I believe. I believe it's rated R. It's good. It's good, but if you want to watch like a nice Christian movie, it's good. It's not perfect. It's definitely, it has its problems with it. Overall, this movie is really good, but when compared to other really awesome like conversion stories and all, it really just doesn't stack up as much. The acting in this movie is good. I feel like one of the problems I have, you're gonna see this a lot come up with me, is that I have the problem of I overly hype stuff up in my mind, so when I watch it and it's not as high up as I thought it was gonna be, I get overly picky about it. But the fact of the matter is, it's really good. It just wasn't I was expecting this really life-changing experience like you have with The Chosen or something like that, and it was really just a good story, a good movie, had a great message in it. I really like the ending of this movie. It's really, really cool. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. But yeah, it was just the problem I have with it is that I was trying to overly hype it up, so I was getting ready for this really, really good movie, and I got an okay movie. It's okay, but I wish, as I've said before in other movies, I wish it was great. So overall, if you haven't seen this yet, please check it out. It's good. I strongly recommend, especially if you're a Catholic, check this out. Especially if you're a Catholic man, actually. Like, women, you can watch it too. But it's a man who's a boxer, who decides to chase one woman who is a Catholic. So he says, I'm going to get baptized. And the more he figures out about the Catholic Church, he's like, I want to become a priest now. I want to serve God in that way. I feel called to serve God in that way. And it's just his conversion story and how he becomes a priest. This is just if you can always just look up Father Stu. You will come up with the movie, but you can also just read the articles about the man himself. But basically, yeah, he went through this. I don't remember the name of the disease, but it was a disease who basically caused him to be crippled and all. And so they were saying he can't become a priest now. And so through the stories, he has to come to grip with that. But then at the very close to the end, and this is all for the true story, he actually does become a priest, and because of and he becomes a really strong priest, a really a priest that converts a lot of people who are in jail, people who are in the tough of life, not the folks like me and people like that who really has not had that bad of a life. The people who have gone through a tough life, he's able to just sit them down and say, there's a really cool scene where he's basically he's talking to these people in prison, and he's just who's gonna be there for you when you go to prison? Who's gonna call you on the phone when you're in prison? It's not gonna be your parents. It's not gonna be your lover that you cheated on. It's not gonna be those people. Who is it gonna be? It's gonna be God. God is the one person who's actually gonna care about you while you're in prison. He's the only one who would try to call on you while you're in prison. He's the only one who actually truly cares about you when you're down on your lowest. Other people are gonna turn their back on you, and he's gonna continue trying to take care of you. He's gonna continue try to help you. So I really like that scene. The whole movie is good. Again, it has some language in it. The acting's good. Overall, it's a really good story. It's just, it has its problems. I wish it was better. It's good, but not great. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. Number 3, The Glass Onion. I've talked about this one before too. Yeah, but Glass Onion is really good follow-up to Knives Out. It follows the story awesome. It does a really great job, as I've said before, with averting your expectations. So, pretty good movie. It is a murder mystery movie, but as with the other one, where it was with Knives Out, it was a murder mystery, but it was a murder. Both of them are murder mysteries, but not murder mysteries in the way you think. They still have a murder mystery in it, but it's it's just a little different. It's a difference in the first movie versus this movie with how the murders come about, all that kind of stuff. This is a really good story. It's definitely different from the original, but in its own unique way, it makes it really nice. The visuals, again, with this movie is awesome. The characters are good. The acting is good. I really like it. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It's a great story. Overall, it doesn't stack up with the original. I would still put the original higher than it, but as follow-ups go, it's really, really good. Number 2, The Batman. This is going to probably get the medal for this year of the most talked about on my channel, and that is The Batman, right? I've talked about The Batman a bunch. I've talked about how in the murder mystery genre, how it's a good murder mystery. I've talked about it in the superhero genre, how it's a good superhero movie. I've talked about it in the just standalone movies, it's a good movie. You get the point. I've talked about it in almost every single category on this channel. It fits into so many different categories, and that's what makes it so good, is if someone wants to watch a murder mystery, they can watch The Batman. If someone wants to watch a superhero movie, they can watch The Batman. If someone wants to watch a standalone movie, they can watch The Batman. You get the point? It's just every single category it almost fits into. If it can even fit into horror movies, so if I ever made a list on horror movies, it would probably be on that list too. If I guess it wouldn't fit into romance, I could find a way to slip into romance. It would make no sense, but it would be kind of fun to try to do that. Just randomly put it in there. They're like, oh yeah, it's also a romance movie, because technically there's a romance in it. Like, there's not really a romance in it, but hey, if you want to say there's a romance in it, there we go. I can find ways to put it into romance. I don't know how I would put it into comedy, but if I wanted to, I could put it into comedy. You get the point. It can fit into a bunch of different categories, and it's really good. It's one of those movies that I really want to see them continue the story, because something I actually haven't talked about before, I'm going to talk about now, is how they're setting up one of the first good adaptations of Robin. At least I think they are. Hopefully the director will see where they're going and like, oh yeah, maybe we should do that, because they have like scenes where he's just looking at this little kid and he's just like thinking about fathering him or something like that, and I don't know if he's going to be the one that's going to become the first Robin, but they're hinting at that he's going to get a Robin, which is a really good thing. I really like Robin. They do a great job in the 1966 Batman series of having Robin. They do a really good job with Robin in other like animated versions. They just need to have a version of Robin in live action that's good. Again, since the 60s, right? We don't want to go too long without one, because the fact of the matter is, it's a really cool story, and it shows the humanity in Batman, because the whole thing about Batman is a lot of times he doesn't get married, he doesn't do stuff like that. He has got married in the comics, but Robin is supposed to be his humanity. He's supposed to show him how he's still Bruce Wayne under that. So maybe what they could do is do something like have it so in the sequel he's still the broody guy that he's in the first movie, and then he decides to take this one kid under his wing, and through the movie you see this kid helping him, and without helping him find his way to the light and being, able to break down those barriers that he has, that he's been building up for years after his parents' death. I really like it. One of the best things about having Robins in these movies is that for the whole thing about his parents. His parents, what he sees in Robin is the childhood he never got to have. He sees, hey, this kid, like I think in one version of Robin, he's literally gets like his family killed in front of him or something, and Batman literally sees him as himself, as a younger version of himself, and like, I'll take you under my wing so you can have the vengeance you need, younger than I had to wait when I was Batman. I really like that. Hopefully they do a good job bringing Robin to life. Robin's awesome. So again, with this movie, it can fit into almost every single category. Sci-fi, murder, you get the point. It's a lot of different categories, and it's good. It's really good. I like the story. I strongly recommend, if you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out. Number 1, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick is a great sequel, and I will make a video talking about how great of a sequel this is. But it's a great follow-up to the first Top Gun. I was first thinking of using this movie as an example of how to set up your main character, because it does a great job with setting up Maverick in this movie. Like, even if you haven't seen the original, you still get into the character because of the reason that they do a great job in the, like, when the first opening scenes, you see Maverick being Maverick and like testing the limits, and you don't have too much talk when it comes to like, oh, you're a risk taker. They don't really say it, they show it. Show don't tell. They do a great job of show don't tell. And yeah, they do a great job setting up the character in the opening scene. I can go into a video talking about this movie eventually and just go in and breaking it down and why this movie is so good. But overall, it's a great follow-up to the original. It does great nods to the original. Overall, it's just, if you want to watch a true American movie, it's a great movie about, flying planes and Tom Cruise and stuff like that. I mean, it's the Tom Cruise movie of the year. I think it's the highest grossing movie of that year. It's really, really good. I really like it. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. The music is awesome. For the most part, the visuals are great. The characters are hilarious and so much fun to watch. Overall, it's a great story, and it really, like, by the end of the movie, you're just like, yeah, America. So, overall, it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. It's awesome. Okay, so that's my list. Tell me what movies you liked in 2022. As you could tell, I had no MCU movies on it, which is really, really sad. There was no good MCU movies that came out. Now, yes, I haven't seen Black Panther, Wakanda Forever yet, so I may like that one. Mainly because I actually do like the original Black Panther. I'm a big fan of Black Panther, and I'm really sad that Chadwick Boseman died, because he's a hero of mine. When I liked the guy before he died, but after he died and started learning more stuff about him, I was like, this guy's a true hero. I'm not gonna go into a whole rant about this right now, but he's a great guy. I really like what he was able to do with, putting it, like, he was, visiting children in the hospital who was dealing with cancer and stuff like that, while he was dealing with this, and not really bringing it up to anyone, just giving his life for others, just spending his life bringing happiness to others while he still can. He did a great job with giving black people time to shine on the screen. That's not just being racist and being overly, we must put black people in because we don't want to look racist type thing. There's some of the movies he made where I believe he made a movie where he was playing as the first ever black baseball player. Stuff like that. He's a great guy, and I love it how he was not trying to do all this for money. He was trying to, like, encourage people and encourage black people. I would love to be able to see more movies with black main characters, because the black people have just as much right as white people do to star in movies. That's the fact of the matter, and I know this might be some white people are going to get angry at me for that, but I'm sorry. I think that white people have been taking over the screen too much. Now, I will go into a video talking about how to deal with putting, like, black people in movies without making it seem like you're doing it just for the clicks. So overall, the fact of the matter is, I feel like black people should get the right to have their time to shine just as much as white people and stuff like that. Alright, so back on to this whole thing. So these are the movies I like. These are the movies I really liked from this year. Again, I'm sad that none of the Marvel movies made this list, because the fact of the matter is, they're all terrible. I will go into a video talking about, especially with the fourth Thor movie, how bad it is. The only one that was kind of tempted to put on this list was that of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, mainly because I was really excited to watch it, and the fact of the matter is, it wasn't terrible. It was, it was terrible, but it had good moments in it. The rest of them did not have good moments in it. I might make a video talking about 2022 TV shows I like, because I will say that there are at least, I believe Moon Knight came out this year. I might be wrong, but if it didn't, it wouldn't make that list, but that would be one that I know would probably make the list if it did come out this year. Moon Knight was awesome. Anyways, so in conclusion, the fact of the matter is that these are the movies I like. If you don't like them, you can tell me in the comments. Just put down in the comments what movies you liked from this year. What movies you liked from last year. What movies were you most disappointed with from last year? I know the one that I was most disappointed with was Thor 4, because I'm a big fan of Thor, and this is going to get a lot of controversy probably, but I think they need to get a new director for Thor movies if they want to keep making Thor movies. Get Taika Waititi out of there. He's not good at those movies. He destroys the character of Thor. I don't think he understands who Thor is. So, overall, these are movies. I strongly recommend you guys check them out. I'll leave a link in the comments to all these movies if you want to watch them too. They're really good, strong movies. Like them a lot. If you don't like them, feel free to tell me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because we really want to grow this audience so that we can reach more people. I would love to be able to hear more people's opinions on movies, because really, I'm just coming from what I think, and I would love to hear what other people think. I would love to be able to see other people's opinions on these, because the fact of the matter is I have different opinions than you guys, but that's okay. And it's okay for you guys to mention your opinions, because it might change my opinions too. If someone put out a video talking about how great Wakanda Forever was, how great Multiverse of Madness was, it might be able to convince me somewhat. The fact of the matter is, especially with Multiverse of Madness, I'm not overly one direction about it. I have mixed feelings about that movie. So the fact of the matter is, I would love to see other small creators come out of this. I would love to see other people subscribe, because the fact of the matter is, this is going to be a great place for people to just talk about about movies they like, and especially for writers to really talk about how to make movies. If you have any things that you see in movies that you feel really works, you can mention those. We're going to be continue going over that stuff. I really want to see what other people have to say. So overall, thank you for watching. This has been the Movie Night Review. Peter Wary, signing off.